5 seconds. Sri Gopal Rao Naidu, Chairman of the Board of Directors, said in our creation of the Book Center Limited as a cooperative concern for carrying on what we consider ought to be done cooperatively. We may conceivably be anticipating a type of business structures which will be adopted in the future in those cases where large scale operation under central direction is naturally at an advantage. The recent articles in the Times on private enterprise have stated that, parallel with a tendency towards large scale and central operation, there is a requirement that the resultant large organization, in some cases monopoly, shall be under some control other than the sole control of shareholders interested in the raising of the resulting profit. Certainly, a business structure which is politically acceptable and yet remains inherently practical is, in certain cases, desirable. It ought surely to be possible to combine the merits of individualism and private enterprise with the condition which the Times stipulates. It is all the more probable that a structure both acceptable and practical can be created, since the principle of fair return on capital with a fair recompense for risk and enterprise will probably be always politically acceptable, particularly if what is to be regarded as fair is capable of definition by reference to a disinterested party. In our structure, we have thus provided for determining what is a fair return for book center and wheelers. In the case of Book Center Limited, the majority of the board consists of the publishers whose books are being distributed, and in the case of Wheelers, the majority consists of booksellers and publishers, all of whom were elected under the authority of their respective National Association of Publishers and of Booksellers. Moreover, if a question arises in the control of these two companies as to what is to be considered fair, provision is made for reference to what is in effect arbitration. In regard to the future tendencies of a distribution, I personally believe that manufacturers will, in their own interest and in the interest of retailers, organize joint distribution of their own goods rather than each continue to pay for a small scale organization, giving a necessarily very limited service to the retailer. I also believe that this joint distribution will tend to be organized as a cooperative concern and not as a new and unrelated business coming in as middleman. I consider that in the case of the distribution of books, there is even more reason to expect these tendencies than in most other commodities. I say this because individualism is the lifeblood of publishing. Books will always, I believe, and I know most of us hope, be produced by many publishers. I cannot visualize the super publisher so full of vision and efficiency that he will so excel all other men in taste, in enterprise, in faith, and in feeling for books that he will monopolize book publishing, nor can I envisage the economic conditions under which only a few really big houses will monopolize the author, the printers, and the booksellers and prevent the emergence of that most individualistic creature, the rising publisher. If I am right in thinking that no one can keep a good publisher down, it will naturally mean that bookseller will, unlike other retailers, necessarily have to get their supplies from not only one or a few ultimate sources but from a great number. This need to have as many sources of ultimate supply as there are manufacturers producing goods is a condition peculiar to the book trade, including publishers, printers, and booksellers. You will know that the Copyright Act and the insistence by the public that a book with another title is not even just as good force the bookseller to open an account wherever good books are produced, and this in practice means that he must buy ultimate from a vast field of publishers, not to mention from learned and other societies. Moreover, there will also be great variety in the number and type of books published by each publisher, and it is therefore impossible for any but the very largest bookshops to be able to carry in stock even a high proportion of the books which are available, and for any of which the vast variety of the general reading public may at some time ask. The book trade by custom has made the retailer pay the cost of carriages. Now the prompt supply of a book not in stock is clearly desirable, but special ordering and delivery is not possible from a great variety of suppliers without considerable cost, which falls on the bookseller. The bookseller must choose between either going to a central source of supply in order to combine his urgent requirements in one order and the books in one parcel, or sending many orders and paying for many parcels. This latter alternative course runs away with what little profit he earns in meeting his customers' wishes. The average book is not a highly priced unit of merchandise. Dear editor, on September 9th, the nation has celebrated the 76th birthday of our philosopher president, Dr. Radhakrishnan. From professor to president was eventful pilgrimage. It is a fitting tribute to the teacher in Radhakrishnan and to the academic world that Teachers' Day should synchronize with his birthday. The first celebration last September was viewed as a festival of learning, and remarks were made that the government was supporting educational services by begging in the streets. I venture to suggest that in a democratic country, begging for public good as a measure of cooperation of the public, like the sale of textbooks, becomes necessary, and here too the teacher's services were requisitioned. In my opinion, there is nothing derogatory about it, but when teachers are asked to sell flags and collect funds for their own cause, I wish to protest because their position becomes undignified and even awkward, and it does not at all help raise their status. May I suggest that there is a way of raising them in the public esteem. It is not enough if a subcommittee is formed to the Teachers Welfare Trust and it functions at state level. The government has to organize the formation of similar committees at district and Samiti levels with officials and non-officials, retired educationists and members of Lions and Rotary clubs. I would suggest that district collectors should be the overall presidents for the districts, and the teachers should be left out of the business of selling flags and collecting funds. All other members of the committee should work in coordination in the cause of the teachers and to make the total collections handsome. I would like to suggest that the sale of flags should be entrusted to all departments of government. But to make the celebration a significant national event, in the day's program may be included meetings where parents might be invited to attend in large members and discuss parent teacher cooperation, student teacher relationship, maintenance of discipline measures to raise standards, etc. In my opinion, ministers, legislators, officials, and distinguished citizens must shed their standoffishness and participate in the program and help people understand education as a national community project.